Welcome, everybody, to Dueling Aces for October 21st, 2024. With me to kick off the show, of course, covering our college football stuff, Bruiser.
You owe me an apology.
Yeah, well, I'll think about it.
You owe me an apology.
Because
you said there's no way that the top 5 or top 6 that I said was going to be Saturday night was going to happen. And I said, watch. And
yeah, well, if your team wouldn't have crapped the bed, it wouldn't even be close. They would have just
with the exception
business.
With the exception of number 1 and number 2, I was correct.
I don't know. I definitely turned around and was so disappointed in Texas, especially after they literally had turnovers galore right off the get-go. And I'm sitting there going, all right, cool, let's go. And then they just sat on their butts in the whole first half. I'm like, what the heck's going on?
Oh, like I told
you. And then I even mentioned about, well, what is up with the quarterback? Something's still not right with that kid. And I said, how long until they put Manning in? And then sure enough, you called it. They went, here comes Manning.
They gave him the first half and it didn't work. And then they put Manning in and they got some production. But I think by that point, it was too far gone. And it's like baking. You're gonna find out what you forgot to put in the cake mix once it's in the oven, but once it's in the oven, it's already too late. And that game was well on its way to being cooked. So I told you last week that the game I was worried about was Oklahoma, because that's the rivalry game, right? Like that's the important one. If they lost to Georgia, they were going to lose to Georgia. The saving grace of the whole deal is that, if I remember correctly, Texas is in the West, in the Western Conference for the SEC. So they can still go play in the SEC title game. So there might be a rematch against Georgia down the line. Or if Tennessee beats them, you might get Tennessee. But I realize that there are a host of undefeated teams still left in the top 25, but I don't think anybody in the top 12 when we get to the playoffs is going to be undefeated. I don't think there's going to be one undefeated team in the top 12. And if there manages to be an undefeated team, I don't know how well they will fare in the playoff, because I think that you need to have a loss or two to keep you hungry. And it's like I told you yesterday on the phone, I feel real bad for Vandy this weekend. Texas is already an 18-point favorite. And the last time Texas and Steve Sarkisian got embarrassed was against Oklahoma. And the following week they played they played Baylor or somebody who was not doing well. and it was like 56-3.
Ooh.
Just smashed them.
Ouch.
So I was looking at schedules today when I got home from work. Alabama still has a way to claw their way back into the top 12, but they've still got to play Tennessee. They've still got to play Ole Miss. They got to go to Norman and play Oklahoma. And oh, by the way, you've got the Iron Bowl at the end of the year, weekend after Thanksgiving, and that game you just throw the records out the window.
So when you said you were looking at Bama's schedule, you said that they could turn around and end up with how many more losses?
I think if things go poorly, they could end up with 2 more losses for a total of 4. Ole Miss always plays them tough, and you've got to play. Let me pull it up. I just had it up because I was looking at a bunch of different schedules. They're at home this weekend against Missouri. Then they go to LSU. They have a week off. Then they go to LSU. Then they're home against Mercer. Then they're on the road at Norman. And then they come home and play Auburn. You could potentially lose 2 in a row.
But the thing about that then is, and we know how the committee, once they start getting involved, I think that's next week, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't
week
it
9.
next week?
I thought it was week 6. It's week 9.
Clint, they won't be there after next week. They won't be there after next week.
I feel bad for Vandy.
Vandy's about to see the biggest butt whooping because Texas is going to be really ticked off. It's going to be rough.
It's like the video I posted in the chat from the Sugar Bowl in 2019 with Bevo charging at the stupid dog. Yeah, I feel bad for the Commodores.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh no, for sure.
No,
Listen, Vandy
100%.
in the top 20. There are schools that I root for to do well because I want to see it happen. Like the year that Northwestern made it pretty far into the season being undefeated, and then they ran into a buzzsaw at the end of the year playing Michigan, Ohio State, and like Wisconsin and then lost 3 in a row and dropped out of the top 25. Teams like Vanderbilt, Northwestern, Indiana, I want to see them do well because they're not the typical ones that usually do well. So when they're in the rankings, I get excited because it's cool to see. Look, Indiana's 13th. Can you imagine the meltdown that people in Columbus would have if they lost to Ohio, if Ohio State lost to Indiana?
Yeah, but I mean, the way some of these teams are, it's not. Like I said, I didn't think that they should have been up that high to begin with at the beginning of the season.
Who, Ohio State?
Yeah, I said that they should have been a little bit lower. I think I even said they should have been about 8 or 9 from where I thought they should have been sitting.
No, you argued with me that Ohio State should have been where they were at, and I said they should have been lower.
I don't think so.
I wanted them to be 8 or 9, and you said they should have been like 5th.
Well, it's still they shouldn't have been 2.
I still don't think that are they the number 4 team? I don't think they're better than Texas.
And that's the one thing that surprised me was Texas got knocked down a little too far.
No, they just switched places with Georgia. That's what's been happening. The higher teams that lose, they switch places with the team. The only one that really suffered when that happened was Bama, but the I don't. It doesn't. I get it. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever. You didn't drop that far. You dropped 3 places. You drop 3 places. Handle your business the rest of the year, and you'll be back up there. It's not like we're worried about the top 4. I would like to be the top 2 because then you get a first round bye. But
yeah, which we know can definitely happen because we know that Georgia doesn't have a cakewalk schedule either. Oregon could pretty much run it out. Penn State and Ohio State play each other.
But that's the only hard game that Penn State has left is against Ohio State, and that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But Oregon plays Illinois, and then they're on the road against Michigan, and then they go to Maryland, and then they go to Camp Randall in Wisconsin. Or no, they're home against Maryland.
Yeah.
And then they're on the road in Camp Randall and play Wisconsin, and then they play Washington.
I don't see anybody that's going to trip them.
I think they could get tripped up.
Oregon could turn around and be the only undefeated.
I think they could get tripped up in Wisconsin, and I think they could get tripped up in Maryland.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
If they get tripped up in Maryland, I think they'll be walking back to Oregon. Maryland is basketball.
Was it last year?
Football.
It was either last year or the year before. Ohio State was on a steamroll, and then they went to play Maryland, and it was like 27-25 in the fourth quarter, and Ohio State ended up skating by the skin of their teeth. Maryland, for whatever reason, can get up for tough games. I don't know why. They just do. Do I think that Oregon will lose? Not necessarily, but I could see them getting tripped up.
Clint even said it. He said 2 years ago OSU won in overtime.
That's right. Against Maryland. Yeah, it's insane.
I don't know. The way Oregon's playing, like I said, it could be very difficult to pull that off. But like I said, I think at this point everybody's playing for 2 and they're going to be jockeying for position.
Like I said, I think look, Washington beat Oregon last year, remember?
Right. Well, Washington also lost about 9 players right to the NFL, 9 starters.
Sure. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I believe at the time
that's why they're not on the list anymore.
But Washington, when they beat Oregon, wasn't ranked. That's what started the Washington roll. They weren't ranked. They had been in the top 25, lost, got pushed out of the top 25, beat Oregon, and got their way back in. And that's what started their roll to the playoff last year.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say because Washington finished as a number into the top 4, so I don't think they were ever out.
Yes, they were. At the beginning of the year, they were. They worked their way back in. George, trust me on this. Because I was standing there working at Ace on a Saturday, and I said something about the Washington Huskies, and I don't remember if it was Suds or you or Clint said, talk to me when they're ranked. And then the very next week they beat Oregon and were ranked.
That's not what I wanted. No.
Here's the thing, though. You look at the top 12 as it stands right now. The fact that Notre Dame is ranked over Indiana to me is a slap in the face.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult with both LSU and Clemson. I mean these other schools that we're already talking strength of schedule and whatnot, but it's just like these guys. I mean, and you've got Army Navy sneaking up, as well.
Army. Well, Clint brought it up a minute ago about Army Navy getting into the playoff. One of them will get in, and one of them won't, because the scenario that's going to play out is that Army and Navy have to play each other, or if they stay undefeated, will play each other for their conference championship game 1 week, and then the very following week will play each other in the exhibition Army Navy game. Now, I have heard possible rumblings about Army Navy.
Washington was 10, by the way, in the preseason last year.
In the preseason,
right at the beginning of the year, they were at 10.
Correct, but they lost and then dropped.
They were never out.
Either way,
I'm just saying. I knew that they weren't that far, because they couldn't have been a one-loss team without not being for the top 4.
They weren't when they beat Oregon. They weren't. They weren't high up, George. They weren't. Either way, but I have heard rumblings that the Army-Navy game might get merged with the conference championship game for this year, should Army and Navy remain undefeated and have to play each other in the conference championship. That will also be the Army-Navy game.
I don't know if I like that. I really don't know if I like that.
I do. Send College Game Day there and make that the game of the week. You got an undefeated Army, undefeated Navy playing in Philadelphia for a conference championship game. Make that the game of the week, because we won't remember it, but talk to your grandparents or your parents. Army Navy used to be the biggest game of the year.
Oh, I still think it is. I mean, once all these rivalry games and conference championships are over, and it's like, oh well, what's left? Well, it's the Army Navy game, and everybody knows about. Everybody, literally, that's the big game at the end of the year that everybody's looking forward to.
What a wonderful story. It just in terms, look, the whole world has gone mad, especially our country. And in a world of negativity, cynicism, and just ugliness, how more wholesome could you get than the Army-Navy game being for that conference championship with both teams undefeated? College Game Day there, make it the national game, kick it off at noon. You know what I mean? Have it, put it on NBC or whatever national whatever national broadcast you need to, put it on the free TV so that everybody gets it. and make a spectacle out of it. Celebrate it. Give us something wholesome. You know, you can run all kinds of cool stories about veterans and former Navy players and former Army players. You could do, obviously, somebody will make a stupid bet. Hey, you know, do something fun with the midshipmen and have one of the A-10 Warthogs or something take off from Annapolis and drop a football out of the Bombay door through the goalpost at Lincoln Financial Field. Something. You could do all kinds of just really cool, really fun, wholesome things with that rivalry and with that game, should those two teams remain undefeated and have to play each other.
And I'm looking forward to what their uniforms will be this year. Because right now they're really one-upping each other on the uniform thing.
Hey, I think the best uniform of the year so far, I'll be honest, was Notre Dame's that they wore Saturday. The old dusty gold and the faded blue, and then the airbrushed helmets that look like leather helmets.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Oh, they were fantastic. Each helmet took like, I think they said something like 20 hours or something to do the helmets. Each helmet.
Usually, I was going to say, usually it is. It takes, you know,
they airbrushed the helmets to look like leather helmets from the 20s.
That's cool.
That I don't like Notre Dame, and that was my favorite uniform so far this year, was that one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, put the picture up. I think it's my favorite uniform.
That blue with the, come on. They call, oh, it won't give me the whole stinking thing, morons. There it is. Oh, come on. Give me a better look at it. All right, I think I got it now. Those are pretty sweet. Somebody also mentioned that Illinois had some pretty cool helmets too over the weekend.
I didn't see Illinois. I saw the Notre Dame ones, and I thought that was the coolest uniform that I've seen all year.
Yeah, it was Illinois. These are the ones that look like the leather helmets.
Was it Illinois? I thought it was Notre Dame.
No, there it is. It's Illinois.
Those right there.
Those are cool. Those are cool.
Well, then I did see Illinois. I just thought it was Notre Dame's.
Well, Illinois had that other one that with the different shade of blue throwback. Those were nice too. Just here watching Baker Ball. Whatever, Sean. What's up, dude?
Adam and Suds aren't here, please.
Oh man. No, those are pretty sweet. Those are really sweet. That definitely, that is some serious artistic work. Those are nice. That's really cool. Definitely not hating on those. Those are pretty sweet. Uh-oh, he said he got Adam fired up yesterday.
Suds got Adam fired up yesterday too.
Oh, like I said, I was so glad that after my stupid comments, like, well, here comes Suds. Okay, I feel better. I feel a lot better. Okay, we're gonna go flip this back to this.
Suds had them all fired up yesterday.
As we've got to talk about this, because from what I've even seen, heard, whatever the situation was,
Ruptured Achilles.
People in bars cheering for this guy's injury.
So
people all over the internet literally hooting and hollering about it. And it's like, guys, you're still talking about an athlete. And I think you even said it. And because Sud said, did Watson die? And I was just like, okay, that's going a little too far. It's like, come on. I mean, you still got to figure it's an athlete who suffered a non-contact injury, and it's going to seriously.
Hold on a second. Michael David. So if they'll play the conference championship game, but the Army Navy game that is usually that takes place after the season is an exhibition game. It does not affect the overall record. It is technically an exhibition game. It'd be like playing a preseason game. It's not. That is why that they have talked about merging, if they are in the conference championship against each other, merging that game, the Army Navy game, with the conference championship this year. But yes, back to your, I know Suds was just trying to make a stupid joke, but I think part of the ugliness that pervades our society right now is that we just want to see everybody at their worst, because it makes us feel better about our own crappy situations,
which is ridiculous. But yeah,
I 100% agree. And I think that you need to have just a little bit of decorum. And while yes, the looped audio clip is from a WWE event, the crowd did cheer when he went down, and he wasn't coming back in. And that's, I don't care what you think of the way the guy's played. I don't care what you think about the guy personally. I don't care if you think that he is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. You saw it last year in the Ohio State-Michigan game when the lineman for Michigan got his femur snapped.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an ugly bone break. And you saw Ohio State fans and Ohio State players walking over to him as they were carting him off and had him, stabilized. It doesn't hurt to show an ounce of decency or decorum. It just doesn't. And no. I think it says more about you as a person if you cheer or make crude jokes about somebody getting seriously injured than it does about the person who got injured.
Yeah. And this snapshot, by
the way, that is my favorite Browns uniform. The orange pants,
with
the white stripe down the side.
Yep. Burrich loves them too. I agree. It missed those big time. But yeah, this injury, this is just cringeworthy, big time, and
You can
it's
see it from the back. You can see it rupture.
Mhm. And it's very unfortunate. I mean, no matter how much you say it, like I said, it's still a professional athlete, and it's still his job, and he's getting injured on the job. I'm not saying cheering was the way to go, but remember from all reports, it was a loud minority that cheered and were probably already fueled up from the
Oh,
tailgating.
Sean, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not disagreeing with that, but there were Facebook, shorts and whatnot of bars around the area of people cheering in the bars. And yes, I'm sure alcohol is involved, but still, I
Yeah. I mean, right now, look at my squad. Brandon Ayuk is now out for the season. And it's like, oh, okay. I think it was Adam who said yesterday, he goes, oh, is that karma for all of his offseason stuff? No, it's not karma for all of his offseason stuff. The 49ers and him were trying to figure out what he was worth, and it got made into a spectacle. But you never turn around and saw him changing up anything. He wasn't being a complete idiot like Devontae Adams. And Mike's right. There are a lot of injuries.
there's too much
And
football.
no, the problem is they don't play during the preseason.
But there's too much. I think 18 games a year is too much, and I think that
They took one of the preseason games out to make another the bye week, and then turn around and just made it as a regular season game. Which in week 18, 85% of the players, main starters, aren't playing anyway.
But my point being,
they only play one full quarter in 3 preseason games, and that's the problem.
No, what I mean by there's too much football is the season ends in February, right?
The first, well, not for except for 16 team, half the league.
The season ends. The whole season ends when the clock strikes midnight on Super Bowl Sunday. Season's over. Done. For everybody. Done.
Yeah.
You get roughly 6 weeks, and then we move into free agency, and then we're moving into off-field OTAs, and then we have the draft, and then we have rookie mini camps and other OTAs, and then we're into preseason and training camps. Just
go ahead.
And then we're into the regular season, and we're playing 3 preseason games, and we're playing 18 regular season games, and then we've got the playoffs. There's too much football and not enough training.
No, that's what the OTAs are. There is plenty of training that goes on.
No, you got rid of 2-a-days. You got rid of 2-a-days and made more OTAs.
When?
Part of the collective bargaining agreement, they got rid of 2-a-days.
No. They got rid of 3s. They still do 2s. They still do 2s.
You need to be out there. You need to be out there physically conditioning yourself. You're not going to get it in a regular season game, and you're not going to get it. Yeah, the new Michael David, the new CBA, no more 2-a-days. There are no more 2-a-days. I knew I was right.
It's not broken down as 2-a-days. It's as one full practice. You just have a longer break in between.
No, but one is an on-field session and one is a film session. There's no more 2-a-day field sessions.
Well, trust me, Mike Tomlin has finagled his way around that. He pulled a Sudbury loophole. Touche.
There's there
you go. Yeah. There you go. Baseball's literally all year round. They are
Base-
literally an all year round.
Baseball is entirely different. Entirely different.
How so?
Because you're not getting into a 30-mile-an-hour car crash every play.
No, you just have pitchers who have to hurry up and keep throwing every 20 seconds.
Which is why that there are pitch
burning-
counts
And
why
burning their arms out.
and why most starters don't go past the 6th inning or the 7th if they're doing well. It's why you have pitching rotations.
Yep.
Could you imagine a head coach?
And they're still blowing the arms out.
Sure. I'm not
the total number for this year already, because Major League Baseball's Players Association was studying it back in July when I already had almost 400. The final finish count was 698 pitchers from Major League into the AAA, into their AA to pull pitchers through. That's how many pitchers hit the IL list. And almost 30% of them were for Tommy John.
How much? What was the percentage?
Cleveland definitely suffered enough of those.
What
30%.
30%.
30%.
That's still a relatively low number.
No, it's not. In fact, it's the worst number recorded so far, which is why Major League Baseball is already investigating it and why they want to turn around and adjust the pitch clock, because it's going too fast.
The pitch clock could be slowed down. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but
I covered this on a previous show already.
But you're talking about
the whole medical aspect with the pitching arms and what happens with.
You're talking about 30% from major leagues all the way down to single A. That's a relatively. You said triple, double, and single.
Nope, never went down to single. It only goes down to double. It only going to double.
That's still a relatively low number among three leagues. 30% among 3 leagues.
Understand, but that's still too much. They already said that that's why they're investigating it. And
dude, how many games this year? How many NFL games? And we're only in what, week 7, week 8?
7.
How many season-ending injuries have there been already? There's one every week. At least one. Don't give me the baseball is no different than football, because it is. Baseball is. Yes, they play 162 games. Yes, you are putting wear and tear on your body pitching on a pitch clock. However,
but the NFL, you are training. You have, if you're playing on Sunday, you're on film Monday, you're off on Tuesdays, and you're back Wednesday with training, weight room, training Thursday with practice, and Friday, and then Saturday more film.
And then you're getting into more
and getting into practice your walkthrough for Sunday.
And then on Sunday, you're getting into more car crashes again.
Yep. And you only do it for 18 weeks.
George, I want you every Sunday to just go outside, let Bryce put his pads on, and just hit you as hard as he can for like a half hour. Then you recover Monday, Tuesday. You go do it again the following Sunday.
Listen.
Go do it again the following Sunday.
Mike's got it. Mike's got it right there.
That's exactly my point, and you're telling me I'm wrong.
But I'm saying they still go through they got their regular routine.
At half or 3/4 speed, or in shorts and helmets, not in full pads.
No, they're in full pads except for walkthrough on Saturday. Otherwise, they are in full pads.
you're not. Part of the thing that I'll equate this to wrestling. And Clint's saying the same thing. Practice reps are different than in-game reps. It's entirely different.
I disagree. You practice how you play. Every NFL coach will tell you that. You practice how you play.
Every NFL coach will tell you that, but they're not making the money that the players are making, and the players aren't going to practice that way because it prevents them from making that money. No. But in wrestling, when I wrestled, there is a certain amount of natural armor that you build up that from taking bumps, hitting the ropes. Sean will tell you this. You build up calluses on your lower back and on your shoulders from doing rope drills from the way you hit the ropes. There's just a natural armor that you build up. And I think with all of the games and less full contact practice, that natural armor in football players has gone away. Now, is it to the safety of the football players to help quell concussions and other things? Yes. But because of that, the commensurate response is more season-ending and serious injuries on the field on Sundays.
I disagree.
You can disagree, but the proof is out there. The proof is out there.
Well, yeah, that's with the QB. Yeah, it's generally the only person who's not getting tagged, but everybody else is hitting. I'm telling you,
they're not hitting like they do on Sundays. You're not hitting in practice the way you're going to hit somebody else on Sunday. You're just not.
I understand that there's going to be that extra amped up level. All right. And believe you me, even with the teams that I've even had, it's like we've said the same thing. It's like we definitely want to practice how we play. It's like we know you're not going out there to kill somebody. You know, that's not the objective. The objective is to play heads up football, be protective, and play the game.
Sure, but you're talking about junior high kids and high school kids, and you're trying to change the way that they play.
Mike's saying he played Muskegon. You have live tackling on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, full tackling, no thudding up.
But you've got to. You're not going to hit your. You're not going to hit your teammates the way you're going to hit somebody else. It's not happening. That's also part of the problem. Go back to 16 games. You want to play 3 preseason games? Fine. But then keep an extra bye week in the season. Give them 2 weeks off. But go back to a little bit more active practices. And I guarantee you the injury numbers will probably go down a little bit.
Oh, I've already been saying that all the preseason stuff, with them barely getting any playing time in the preseason, does not give them the real game speed play that they would have during the regular season. And it's because they're only playing maybe 2 or 3 series, and then that's it. They don't play
a
for
requirement
like
that you have
2 weeks.
Make it a requirement that your starters have to play a full quarter in the first preseason game, a full half in the second, and the full game in the third. Build them up.
Well, that's been my argument a little bit on that ordeal. But you've got 98 guys you got to try to work in too.
Look, I'll equate this to something I did. The holdout thing is also, Mike. The holdout thing is something that annoys me too.
Yeah, that. Oh my God, absolutely.
But I am training for a powerlifting competition in a cup that is taking place in a couple weeks. And yesterday when I did deadlifts, I did 4 sets of 8 at 315 pounds. And I warmed up with 135, and then I jumped up to 225. And I went to go put 315 on there, and the girl who owns the gym and is my trainer was like, go to 275. Don't go all the way up to 315. Go to 275. She goes, you won't be able to do it at 315 if you jump all the way up like that. So I put 275 on there, and she was right. I wouldn't have been able to hit the 315 for 4 sets of 8 if I hadn't done that. Because you have to warm your body up. You have to get the muscles firing. You have to build up that natural armor. And I think, again, that's part of the problem in the NFL is that natural armor is gone or severely eroded away. I'm not saying we need to go back to the 70s and 80s when guys were killing each other on the field. And I say that in a figurative sense.
Yeah.
But I think there's a healthy balance. I think rules are part of it too. You breathe in the direction of a Patrick Mahomes or a Baker Mayfield or anybody like that, and there's a flag coming out and it's a 15-yard personal foul. Look,
yeah, it's like you can't even tackle the guy anymore because, you put too much weight on him. I'm like, dude, you're tackling the guy.
You got to hit him. And I'm not preaching for the barbarism that football used to be. I'm really not.
Oh, I know. Somebody sent me a video clip of the hits in the 80s, and yeah, the game has totally changed.
And
yeah, that exactly. You're not allowed because you're not allowed to hit the quarterback.
You can attest to this. I'm not a big professional football fan. I'm really not.
No, you 100%. Your love for football reigns in the college arena.
Yes, because I love the pageantry of it. I love the rivalries and all that. I love the colors and the passion. I love college football. I'm not a super huge.
Because it's kind of like basketball. I love watching college basketball. I would rather watch a college basketball game than a pro basketball game because all the pros are doing is it's all showboat.
There they are, the leaders of the North.
Pay no attention to the fact that it looks like Jake Bates is kicking my head.
I was just gonna say it looks like you're getting kicked right in the back of the head, dude. Good to see you, buddy. But no, I agree. I agree because and the NFL it's a glorified showboat spectacle, and there's a lot more.
They continue on with the rules, and we're only 5 years away from what the Pro Bowl became.
Oh, you mentioned the 2 worst words ever. Let's not bring that up ever. Yeah, I don't even want to talk. No, I can't even go there.
Zolt is
can't.
rocking already because he's like, no.
I don't
Is
even
your nose
know.
on your microphone?
Maybe
Okay.
it's a good rest. It takes some of the weight off the neck.
You gotta put that schnoz somewhere.
Really?
Wow. Just updates. Tampa Bay is beating Baltimore 10-7 at the moment. They're midway through the second quarter. Arizona and the Chargers just kicked off a little bit ago. They're still nothing.
What am I, chop sliver?
They run towards the sideline. Defenders back. Yeah,
You
exactly.
still come mooch me good night every time I'm doing my show, madam.
I'm going upstairs to declothe, and then I'm going to go shower.
Fine.
Yeah, that fake slide. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the other thing is trying to start into that slide. It's like, hey, once you start that body momentum into that slide that you were going to actually slide, that should be committed that's it. And then all of a sudden, no, now you're going to fake it. And then it's like, oh no, I'm not going to slide and keep running. It's like, dude, I'm sorry, but I'm going to light you up next time I see you do it.
Oh, I want to go back to college football real quick because there's something that I wanted to cover that we forgot.
Oh,
Did you see what Alabama did in the Tennessee game that got them a penalty flag on the field?
oh my God. The bottle throwing.
No,
Yeah.
that was Texas.
No, that
was
no,
Texas.
but I wanted to bring that up. Too.
That I'm mad about too. Like that goes into the decorum thing.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
realize you're getting your ass beat, but like
yeah, I was gonna say but go to that and then we'll go on to the bottle gate
but
2.0.
So last week we had the substitution and catching with Oregon with the 12 players and
Yeah.
the 10-second runoff, right?
Yep.
So Alabama tried to do something similar, couldn't get the substitution. So a dude who was running onto the field just fell down and grabbed his hamstring like he was injured, running off the sideline, and the refs threw the flag on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure that is going to be getting a lot more attention real fast.
But the thing with what Oregon did, what Oregon did with the 12 men on the field and getting a 10-second runoff, to me, is gamesmanship. That is knowing the gray area in the rule and using it to your advantage to gain an advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't illegal. It wasn't necessarily legal. Was it ethical? Probably not.
Well, it's illegal now.
It's illegal now, but it wasn't at the time.
I know, but how interesting that, oh man, it instantly became a brand new rule, maybe.
And that rule had been on the books for a very long time.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll be darned. One exposure, bam.
Look, what Oregon did was that was very smart.
Yeah.
But what Alabama did, like, it wasn't even sneaky. Dude, the camera is on him. He runs out onto the field, gets 5 foot off the sideline, falls over and just grabs his hamstring. And the ref is standing right there, just pulls the flag out of the pocket and throws it.
The ref said, my friend, you are not J.K. Dobbins.
Why you got to go after my running back like that, man?
With Alabama, and then what happened in Texas with the throwing the trash onto the field, and I didn't even see because they penalized Texas. They didn't penalize Georgia; they penalized Texas.
Yeah, and they overturned it.
And no, there was a PI call that got overturned that was on Georgia.
No. They turned around and they flat out said they changed the penalty call. They overturned it.
Because I was listening to Kirby Smart today, and he was talking about it. He goes, I talked to Sark after the game, and neither one of us can figure out what the hell the refs were talking about.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you want to get a call changed? Yeah, just throw garbage on the field and wait 10 minutes.
That was
That was the wildest thing since the Jacksonville Bottlegate scam in Cleveland.
and they hit the refs and a couple players with some of the garbage and it delayed the game for a few minutes while they were cleaning up.
See, and I mean, that's the one thing I'm not a fan of college football as well, is I don't like the fact that they can rush the field. I'm not a fan of that at all.
I think it gets so.
I'm a big proponent of that is a major no-no, because even as you know, the other team is still trying to get off the field, and you'll have stupid drunk people, sitting there and could go through antagonizing the players, smacking the players, whatever. And it's like, dude, no. I'm not a fan of it.
I will agree with you to a point. I think if you want to rush the field, we'll go back to Vandy, Alabama, right? When Alabama was number 1 and Vandy beat them. Rushing the field in that environment, I totally get. I 100% get. But I think that if your stadium security and whatnot, you owe it to not only your players, but the players of Alabama that you post extra secure, especially if you're watching that in the fourth quarter and you realize this game's going to go the way you think it's going to go. You put them down at the field access points and you do it in a manner that is safe and conducive to not only the fans, but the teams. Hey, get the teams off the field as quick as you can and then let them rush the field, because that's part of the grandeur and allure of college football, is those moments where something magical like the Vandy Alabama game happens and you rush the field and it's amazing and it's a unifying experience. But I do agree that stuff like that can become a dangerous environment. So there has to be somewhere along the way, there has to be a compromise. And I realize that they find schools, like the SEC fined Vandy, I think it was $250,000 for that.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't see it happening in the pros. I mean, granted, between the Browns or the Lions, if they turn around and won the championship game and they're headed to the Super Bowl, something tells me there'd be some stupid people rushing the field after the game was over.
The thing,
not a big deal then, because you just got to go to the local pawn shop to find the goalpost
instead of the river.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Mr. Unlimited. Oh God, Jesus, really? Oh, he's going with the dad jokes. Mike, oh my God. He's been on these dad. Not granted, Mike is a brand new dad. So he has a daughter now, brand new dad, and he is starting with the dad jokes heavily at the moment.
So when's number 2 on the way?
Oh my gosh. There was a spit take on that one.
I'm going to say this. Clint gets it. Since we're on college, or we were on college football, I do want to bring up something, because I have a feeling my school probably wasn't well represented here on the show.
We didn't.
We talked about Michigan a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm glad I missed it.
Just for a hair. I mean,
no,
they're not on the list, but we still mentioned them. They're not on the list, but we still mentioned them.
I just want to say, so we've now had a good taste of quarterback number 3. And I'll say this about Jack Tuttle, and Michigan fans, you'll understand this. He has now come across as a less accurate Cade McNamara.
Oh,
Mm.
oh,
However,
Ouch.
good news. Good news. Just across the wire, Michigan put out a call, and they've got a graduate student coming in who they think is really going to just step right in and hopefully run this offense. So let's welcome Dom Grady. Possibly the only thing that's going to save this program.
Oh my god.
what's his graduate program?
Doesn't matter. Broadcasting, apparently.
You know, to answer Clint's question, it wasn't that they were passing them off in the streets. They ripped them out of the ground and then marched them down Broadway through downtown Nashville
I mean,
and
at some
into
point,
the river.
at some point, didn't it just become momentum and they were just following?
Yes, it was so good.
Oh.
But so, George, you said that doesn't happen in the pros. There's two very, very distinct things between college and the pros. The thing that makes college football so great is that you have the majority of the people in that stadium are passionate students who get overtaken by the moment. And look, I'm not disagreeing with you that field rushing can be dangerous, but it is also one of the things that makes college football amazing when it happens for the right reasons.
Don't disagree.
Same with rushing the court in college basketball.
Yeah, that gets
I mean, in
that
essence,
gets-
that could get real
that
dangerous
can
real fast.
right.
Yes.
That's the worst one. Yeah, that is the worst one because you are in a you're already in a sardine can to begin with.
Yeah.
And that one. I mean, we've seen players get into fights with the fans in that easily. And it's just like, no, you got to wait. You got to let the other team get out of there.
I also think, though,
one.
if you're the other team, and I'll take Alabama and Vandy again as an example. If you're Alabama in that situation, I think you need to exercise prudence in that situation and get your ass off the field as fast as you can anyway. Like, don't linger.
Well, you've got, and especially when it comes to football games, you've got the guys who, may have gone to school or high school together or whatever, and they're trying to seek out, their buddies or whatnot. And these guys are just charging the field before the timer hits 0.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I mean, the coaches haven't even
different
gotten into their handshake, and you got, 30,000 people rushing the field.
That shouldn't happen, but you're talking about the emotion of the moment, and you want to celebrate with your team because more so in college than you can in the pros, you can celebrate with them. Look at like Auburn, right? I would love to be in Toomer's Corners in Auburn, where the Toomer's Oaks are, and see them roll the trees when Auburn beats Alabama or Auburn wins a big game. That to me, some of that stuff is some of the coolest stuff about college football. I'd have loved to have been on Broadway in Nashville when them goalposts came careening down the street because the cops just stopped traffic. They couldn't do anything.
Well, it was a melee. Out of
Unscripted
control.
moments are the best.
It
moments.
wasn't out of control, though. Nobody got assaulted. You just had a mob of people carrying goalposts, celebrating, and then dumping them in a river. It's like the year that the Cavs won the NBA title. I was on my way home from Boston when that game was going on. And I was trying to watch the game on ESPN Plus on my phone or ESPN Live, whatever the app was back then, on my phone, going through the mountains of Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
It didn't work out well.
No.
But they won. We got back into Ohio right as they won. Got home, and then I drove up to Cleveland. And there are people out on the streets celebrating. The cops came out, you know what I mean, to keep the peace. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was
lighting cars on fires.
Nobody's lighting cars on fire. There were people on East 9th and Euclid right there by the arena and the stadium, and East 4th, just in the bars, bartenders just handing beer out into the street. And people were having it. Yeah, it was a party downtown.
I had to make sure I couldn't watch it.
That's for as heartbreaking as some of the losses can be. Brad Pitt, playing Billy Bean in Moneyball, said it best. How can you not be romantic about baseball? But I think that applies to sports as well. Like, how can you not be romantic about some of the things that happen? You know, the David Fry on Thursday night hitting that bomb.
Yeah.
Just I don't care that they lost, that the Guardians lost the ALCS. I don't, because that home run is going to go down in baseball lore and baseball legend and Cleveland sports legend.
And the best part about it is friends of ours, the kids were on their 8th grade field trip in Washington, D.C., and one of the parents videoed them all cheering as that was going on and then sent it to Channel 8, who then broadcast it on the evening news. And of course, everybody in D.C. is like, there is a big, heavy crowd of over 100 kids screaming and yelling. And they're just like, they must definitely be from the Cleveland area then. Because they were packed in this restaurant and these kids are going bananas. And it was awesome to see. And that definitely fits that statement right there.
One of my favorite things to see is when they do the top 10 on Sports Center at night, is when you get the random youth sports clip sent in. Like, you know, the kid who's the team manager who has Downs, and he's a senior, and they put him in uniform and send him out there for like half of the fourth quarter, and the other team, you know, lines up and lets him take a shot, and he takes a shot and makes it, and you watch the whole crowd go nuts. Like, I love that. You can call me a sap all you want, but I love that stuff. Or when they did the My Wish series on on Sports Center.
Yeah.
Do you remember the fist bump kid?
Yeah.
They show him on all the some of the Sports Center. They still show him on some of the Sports Center commercials today. I mean, I think he's a teenager now, but he was like 3 or 4 in that picture, or in that.
Yeah, I found the video I was looking for.
And they needed somewhere to watch the game.
Of course they did. So instead of playing arcade games during dinner, they watched the bars, Yankees game, and when Big Christmas hit that home run to tie the game, they went wild. Look at this.
Yeah.
You know,
How could you not be romantic about that?
don't we all go into that age mode? We lose our mind.
That is pretty cool. That is super cool.
How could you not be romantic about that?
That was just super damn cool.
How
And
could
I
you
was
not
like,
be
yeah.
romantic about a game-winning field goal that sends you into first place in the NFC North?
So Zold's like,
I teed it up for him.
He
And
teed
he's
it
got his
up, and
microphone
he's-
muted, and he doesn't say nothing.
he's muted himself.
Look, the NFC North, as you call it, comes down to one team.
I just said, how could you
And
not be romantic about a
everybody-
game-winning field goal?
Everybody is romantic about America's team, the Detroit Lions.
I forgot about that one too.
Look,
I saw that meme. I loved that meme. That meme was awesome.
I want them to go win it all now.
Sir, the seat over here on the bandwagon is warm and it's ready. Most are welcome.
Except Sudge.
And 49er fans.
Okay. I'll watch from the perch. I don't care.
I do. I want Detroit to just go win it all because I want to see that city have something awesome like that to celebrate.
I don't want that. There's places I don't want to go, such as reasons for celebration. I mean,
I want to see the hookers
Excuse me,
from
it's
8
week
Mile
7.
come downtown and
Oh,
celebrate.
Jesus. Yeah, here we go. We're not after 10 o'clock yet.
look, we as a city have come a long ways, and frankly, we really haven't burned anything down in an awful long time. Not to say it wouldn't happen.
I was waiting for the and and then
We may have to bring a shtick back for a night. I'm just saying if we win the whole thing.
If you throw octopi onto the ice for the Red Wings in the playoffs, what is the
Dude.
appropriate animal to throw onto the field for the
Easy.
Lions?
I mean, you absolutely.
Mhm.
It's so easy. I mean, you head on over to Royal Oak to the zoo and you bring the lion.
Oh my god.
It's like the TikTok of that woman carrying the cougar down the alleyway. You've seen that
Right.
one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not volunteering for said work,
Right.
but I do know some people that, I could probably talk them into it.
Everybody's got a guy.
Yeah, I
He's
was
got a guy.
I don't look at me on this one. No, sir.
It's
So-
cold. The lions hibernate, right? It's fine.
Talk to Clint. His people know how to break into places.
Oh Jesus. Oh my god. So you don't have any you're literally playing Michigan State this weekend when you play Tennessee. I mean, that's pretty much a phone-in game.
Okay.
I think
Okay, look,
I
look,
think
hang on.
you guys will have your starters benched by the third quarter and the backup guys will be in the fourth.
You're bouncing back and forth between comparisons here, and considering Michigan does play Michigan State this week, that's not the comparison we're looking for, because that Saturday game, I have zero faith right now. So
I'm sorry.
Sunday against the Titans, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I do have numbers.
The amount of absolute shit that Suds will talk if Michigan State somehow wins on
Oh
Saturday.
god.
Dude, it's not somehow. They're actually playing well, and we are not.
You
Well,
know
with
that
Dom Grady, you guys might have a chance.
I
That's
was gonna
Dom
say,
Grady.
right.
We are holding out hope for Dom Grady.
But
Let me
after
just throw this out
Tennessee,
here.
oh good lord. That's amazing.
There's no joke here. I mean, quarterback
Yeah.
success rate when pressured through week 7. So the beginning of the season through week 7. Jared Goff, number 1.
And the crazy thing is he did not have that when he played for the Rams.
No,
That's-
even their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Goff leads this team to a Super Bowl victory this year,
When
I will say if
I'll
If.
say the one.
Let's calm down.
No, seriously. Who else? You guys already know how to beat the Chiefs. That's the no-brainer because we already know.
I don't know
all
if
you
the
have
Chiefs
to
are
do-
going to
all
make
you
it.
have to do is make sure you have enough money to pay the refs.
I don't know if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl because I think the Chiefs are going to have to go through Pittsburgh and Baltimore to get there.
Don't
See.
worry, they'll find the way.
And I believe I said this last week. My fear is not Kansas City. My
It's
fear is Baltimore. That
But-
would not be an easy game.
But let's say if
If.
Jared Goff and Dan Campbell can lead that team to a Super Bowl win, one, what is the alcohol consumption in gallons in the greater Detroit area?
Wow. Dude,
Wow.
okay, first
I
off,
was going to say,
Two.
we need to have 2 different charts here, because you need the chart leading up to the game.
right?
Post game.
The problem is post game, half these people are going to be passed out.
And then second is, what is the estimated GDP of the bar tab that Goff and Dan Campbell will never have to pay in the greater Detroit area
Ever.
after that?
Ever. And thank you God we got him extended before this season.
Yep.
Look, there's no such thing as a sure thing. We've already seen Hutchinson go down. My God, that was a scare when Montgomery went down. And he certainly wasn't the same when he came back. However, he came back in the same game. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
things happen.
And I think you guys will be wow.
Hang it.
Well-
Speaking of touchdowns, I do have another stat. Unfortunately, I don't have a funny little graphic for it. I will just say this, and I've come across this. I've seen this like about 12 times today. The Detroit Lions in the last 4 games, so over a 4-game span, have more offensive touchdowns, 18, than they do incompletions, 12.
You know, hey,
That is the first time over a 4-game span that has happened since the merger.
Wow.
for any team or for the Lions specifically?
Anybody.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I mean, I would literally have to check it this past game just to make sure it holds. But going into this game, Goff had 3 games in a row with no incompletions in the first half.
I will. So everybody says you need to peak at the right time, right? But I do think that there's something to be said for sustained momentum. And
Yeah, there's your new MVG right there. There you go. There's your new
Sure.
MVG.
Sure. Now everybody's picking up on it.
Yeah.
but there is something to be said for the sustained momentum, because if you can keep this going, you look at the Patriots teams of the early 2000s and you know, they were good all year. Good night, sweetheart.
Well, that's where I was going. Is okay. You got Tennessee this week, but then you have 2 challenges back to back. You're at Green Bay and you're at Houston. You're not at home against them. You're away on those. I think if you control your own destiny, if you literally can control both of those football games and you come out of each of those stadiums with a win, everybody, of course, is going to be putting you guys in the SB conversation. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I'll be happy if we split those 2 games. I really will. I mean, we're literally coming off of 2 road wins. This home game against the Titans sandwiched in the middle, and then the 2 road games.
Yep.
It's a rough 5-game stretch this week, notwithstanding.
I think you guys are already in the Super Bowl conversation, though.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And to be fair, as much as we joke around about it and call him MVG, Jared Goff right now is 4th in odds to win the MVP.
Which is sad.
Behind who?
Mahomes is still first.
Mahomes is still freaking favorite. Yeah. He's still everybody's big freaking favorite. And then it's Lamar Jackson.
What I saw was Allen was 2nd, Lamar Jackson was 3rd, and then it's Goff.
I was going to say, I was going to interchange them, but those
So-
are your top 3 guys.
So I can see. I'm sorry to break away from your point for a second, Zol, but I could see like Lamar Jackson. I could see Josh Allen and MVG being like 1A, 1B, 1C, but Mahomes is not, to me, in that conversation at the moment. Like, he's not.
See, Clint nails it in the comments right there. Despite how Mahomes has been playing, they are undefeated. So the thought process I would have to imagine is he's going to start playing the way we know he can play, and he probably will, in which case that team becomes lights out.
That's because they're playing 16 on 11 every game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but we've overcome odds before. So I do want to bring up, you brought up peaking early, peaking at the right time, that kind of thing. And I'm also going to kind of go along with what you were saying. It's like this does not feel like, this is not peaking. This is sustained momentum. That's exactly what it is. And I want to take this game against Minnesota. For those who watched it, they went down early, like early.
Mm-hmm. It was 10-0.
Yes, it was 10-0, like almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Came back, took a decent lead. I almost want to say it was 21-10, 21-13, something along those lines. Lost that lead with a couple, fumble, etc. Just some bad juju going on. And then had to kick the go-ahead field goal with 17 seconds left, 12 seconds left, 17. I'm gonna take this back, and this, my apologies if this is a long story, but I'm gonna take this back to a speech that was given, and you're gonna recognize this speech when I get to a certain point. This, what this team needs to become, is the kind of team that, yeah, you're gonna hit us, and we're gonna fall down, and we're gonna come back up, and we're gonna bite a kneecap on the way up, and then we're gonna hit you back. And then you're going to hit us twice, and we're going to probably go down again. And then we're going to climb our way back up, and we're going to bite the other kneecap on the way up, and then we're going to hit you. And then you're going to hit us, and it's going to take you 3 times to knock us down. And when we get up, we're going to take another chunk out of you, and then we're going to knock you out. Because
it's the speech that got Dan Campbell made fun of.
It is the biting kneecaps speech, which literally was his speech when taking the job. That literally we saw the team that he was describing on Sunday.
Yes, but it's also the speech that got him made fun of in national sports media.
Absolutely,
and nobody understood it. And here we are. What, 3 years later? 4 years later?
I believe 3. But here we are.
He took he took Detroit from laughingstock. To Super Bowl contenders, from Super Bowl contending underdog to now it is one of the feared teams in the NFL. You don't want to play Detroit.
He took a team that nobody here believed in. Nobody. 0. And he turned it into a team. I'm sorry. I saw it in the chat. Sud says he might want a Lions jersey.
Yeah. No. Sorry, that Baltimore Raven contender. I told him, I said, dude, he said something about wanting to jump on that bandwagon. I'm like, good luck, dude. I said, I don't think they're going to give you the footstool.
The thing is, that's the level we're at.
Where the haters want to jump on the wagon?
Yes.
I just want to come along for the ride.
Welcome. You are welcome, sir.
This is the nice thing is since last year, the Lions, including the playoffs, the Lions are 19-7. Dude, that should scare the hell out of anybody they're playing, because they are literally just, like Dan said, just taking a kneecap one at a time, and it's going well. It's working. And of course, everybody's like, well, your coordinators or the assistant coaches, it's like, oh, they're going to turn around and take these jobs or that job. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you lost anybody during this offseason, if I'm correct. Nope. Everybody stayed.
Yep.
And it's like, I wonder what's going on. Yeah. I think everybody is buying into their philosophy of what they're going to do. And these guys are like, yeah, we got something cooking. And no, they don't want to screw it up. It's like they know exactly what they've got. And I think they know exactly what their goal is.
I want to feed that.
Consistency is huge.
I want to feed that Dan Campbell speech into one of those AI generators and have it as Joe Pesci's voice. Because the more that I think about it, we're going to find a kneecap. It just sounds like something a mobster would say.
Literally, it's going to show him up there at a podium petting a lion next to him.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Fat ring on his finger.
That would be awesome.
This is Dan Kneecaps Campbell.
Right.
That would be great. But yeah, that really should scare the bejeebies out of everybody.
They are not.
It was the team that everybody laughed at. To, my God, that's a playoff team. To, I don't want to play them.
You know who the Lions are? They're the nerdy kid in 8th grade that at the end of the year wore glasses, was sickly pale, and
skin and bone, and then you come back for freshman year, and all of a sudden he's 265 and 6'2", and just
You're asking him to play
jacked.
varsity.
Yeah, just he was the water boy in 8th grade football, and now he's one of the star linebackers. Our little Lions grew up and hit a growth spurt.
They did. And again, I don't know what. Right. Don't
Drop
know
a pass,
what.
you run a mile. I will break my foot off in your John Brown hide parts, and then you will run a mile.
I don't know what Brad Holmes has planned as far as, are we going to shore up the defense? What is going on? But yeah, we are at a point now where whatever he decides to do, we're there. Okay, let's go. If we're going to run with the way we've got it and just overpower teams on the offense, so be it.
How long did they give Hutch for the time off? How long did they say he'd be
4 to
out?
6 months.
4
In
months would
theory,
put in
in theory, and
4
he
months.
says he
Yeah,
would be back for the Super Bowl.
yeah. I'm looking at the calendar, going,
How?
4
Listen,
months. 4
It's
months would
easy
be
to
really.
say a week and a
Yeah.
half out from surgery.
listen. John Cena made it back from a torn pec in 4 months.
Yeah,
Gotcha. He's
true.
a young kid, he's
But
got those.
Hey, he comes back from that leg break, right?
Yeah.
Detroit's the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, and they announce him on the starting lineup. He comes running out of that tunnel. Just imagine the ovation in that stadium.
Not, unfortunately, I don't think eligible for the comeback player of the year, but
He wouldn't be, but
no.
Look. So,
And I will say this: he voided a lot of defensive player of the year bets. I'm just saying that right now.
so
Unfortunately,
I want, because Clint brought up the Remember the Titans speech,
Yeah.
right? And I brought up the line from Moneyball earlier.
Yep.
And I just had the thought, what's the greatest sports movie speech that you've heard? Because I have two.
I was gonna say, it's kind of like trying to pick the greatest of all time. I'd say you'd almost have to like do a pre 90s and a post 90s kind of.
I'm very, very partial to the locker room speech in Major League.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is
Let's
pretty
go
good.
win
too.
the whole effing thing.
Yes.
Yep. I don't disagree. I
See,
don't
I
disagree
have-
with that.
I
But
have
I like the
two.
Hoosiers one too.
I have two, and they're the same actor. James
Oh.
Earl Jones' speech at the end of Field of Dreams. People will come, Ray.
That's a
That
good
whole
one.
speech, and then his little soliloquy in Sandlot when he's talking to Smalls and Benny the Jet about
Babe
Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Clint, I like the Pacino one too. I like that one too. Yeah. That's a good one too. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of good ones.
Keanu Reeves in The Replacements.
I like his.
Dig scars, pain heals.
Yeah.
But the one part that I really like, and I've actually brought it up to a lot of kids in my coaching, is the whole thing when they talk about the quicksand and they're in the locker room.
The quicksand. That's a good one.
That's a good one right there. I like that one too. Yeah. Wow. Those are some good ones.
So could have the Mets or the Phillies, Sam.
Oh, wow. I still have to get one. I know that they've got them. I still do have to get one.
What was it? Was it The Legend of Bagger Vance? I know it's not really a sports movie, but it was centered around golf.
Yeah.
But there was one in The Legend of Bagger Vance that was pretty good.
Yep. Oh God, what the heck is his name? He turned around
Will Smith.
Because he talked about it. Will Smith, and then
What, Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Smith and Matt Damon.
And the kid at the end of the movie,
was that Shia LaBeouf in that too?
Jack Lemmon, when Jack Lemmon also gives his speech at the end of it, because he was the young kid during that time. That was good. That was The Legend of Bagger Vance. That was a good movie. I liked that movie. That was a good movie.
I also like the one from it's not really a motivational speech, but A League of Their Own. What are you crying? There's no crying in baseball. There was a lot of good lines in that.
There were a lot of one-liners in that.
But that's a really good movie. Or
it's one of my favorite. It's in my top 5. As Kelly would say, I could watch it at any point.
Harrison Ford as Coach Carter's a good one.
Yes, that's a good. Oh yeah.
Hey
Clint, I'm thinking we've got a perfect 10 topic. I'll be danged. Hey, would you look at that? I don't think we've done that one.
But Harrison Ford's character, the Brooklyn Dodgers owner in 42, when he's talking to Jackie about not fighting back, you got to be strong enough to not.
Yes. Yep. That one.
Can you turn that down?
That one's good. And the one in The Natural with Jesus.
There's a movie I don't
brain farting that one. Why am I brain farting The Natural? Why can't I remember the dude's name?
There's a movie with Joe Manganiello as
Brimley.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. There's a movie with Joe Manganiello where he plays like a convict and goes back and is a hitting coach for a minor league team. I don't know the name of the movie, but he asked the guy, he says, "What are you looking at?" And he goes, "What are we supposed to look at? His ass?" And he goes, "Yeah, you look at his ass, his hips, everything. You read him. You don't let them read you." And he's standing at the plate and he's making the pitcher throw to him, and he calls every pitch without seeing the signal the catcher's given.
And who's in it?
Joe Manganiello.
It's called Bottom of the Ninth.
Bottom of the ninth, my wife says.
I have seen a lot of baseball movies.
After a confrontation with the local gang results in an accidental fatally, once promising baseball player spends the next 17 years in prison.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm checking it here. How about 2019? Huh. Like I said, I have seen a lot of baseball movies. I have not.
I know it's not exactly stick and ball sports, but the speech that Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby gives to
in Ford versus Ferrari. Yes, I love that one, especially when he's talking to Mr. Ford in the car.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but did anybody bring up Herb Brooks in Miracle?
No.
Nope.
That's great.
I was going to say, there's a lot in that movie. There's several different ones. You could, especially the part where he's telling about the kid, checking with the doctor going, can he play? Well, all right. And he goes in and he starts bashing the dude. You want me to play on one leg? I'll play on one leg. It's like, all right, that'll fire him up.
My favorite thing about that is the Al Michaels call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads to a whole other topic discussion for Perfect 10 is what's the best sports call?
Nothing from Joe Buck. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
I think Joe Buck had one good one.
Okay.
I'm not saying when or where. I'm just saying he's had to have at least one good one. The old look, Vin Scully calling the Kirk Gibson home run in the World Series is one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. And I think anything from Scully would be.
Or
Yeah.
I
That's
can't remember
like doing Euchre for anything from Milwaukee.
the guy who was the announcer for the Giants for the longest time.
Sam, come on, help me here.
No, not the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants.
Right. You're
Baseball.
talking baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
when he called
Sam would know.
When he called Barry Bonds' 756, that was one of the
How did I miss? Did this not yes, that is
Leave
a
no
that
doubt.
is a
Yeah.
yeah, that is the Gettysburg one. Yeah.
Okay. How about going in a completely different direction, yet still sports speech? How about Jim Valvano? Don't give up. Don't
never
ever
give
give
up.
up.
Yep. Stuart Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or listen,
His speech, I mean, I literally I watched that live. I watched it live and I actually had it recorded at one point because I had it on the DVR, but I watched that live and just started bawling like a baby.
Oh, that dude.
That
The right moment. I'm done.
yeah, I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. Did this Bruiser, this bottom of the ninth, did this just straight stream or was this a release?
I think it was either streaming or probably straight to like DVD or whatever. I don't know. I just see the clips of it pop up on my like Instagram and stuff.
I mean, because
You could probably YouTube it.
The premise of it looks pretty good. I mean, so yeah, because I'm just like looking at it says it's a theatrical release poster, but I mean, in 2019, I'm going, I don't remember seeing this. And I'm usually a big fan of baseball movie. I mean, it doesn't matter pretty much at what level. I love a good baseball movie. I mean, right now, I even had Bryce watching 8 Men Out, and we know how old that movie is.
I've got one.
He loves 8 Men Out.
That is a good movie. I've got one. It's not stick and ball, but Harry's speech to the Daytona 500 car that he's building in Days of Thunder.
Love that. That is cool. That is really cool. And then he looks down and he goes, "Hey, what am I asking?"
Yeah,
not what I wanted to see. It's like,
but when he's building the car and he's talking, I'm gonna shape you like a bullet. We're gonna give you a inch wide fuel hose. Make you hold an extra gallon of gas. Those kind of stuff. I mean, there's some really, really good ones. Trying to think of like some of the better ones that I've already named a bunch, but oh shit. I can see the movie in my head, and I can't think of the Tin Cup. When Kevin Costner's trying to make the shot, and Cheech Marin is his caddy and is telling him to lay up on it.
At the bottom of the ninth is on Tubi, so I'll have to watch that. I got Tubi.
You could probably YouTube the clip I'm talking about.
No, but I'm just saying overall, it's a movie. I definitely would like to catch the whole movie. But yeah,
I've got the best sports beats of all time. Best one. If you want to crown him, then crown the ass. We played him in the third game of the preseason. Who the hell takes me? Dennis Green.
Yeah, that's almost as good as practice or playoffs.
Playoffs.
You know, I mean, best interview thing. Yeah, but the best interview thing, it's Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati. Hey, coach, what about that? We're on to Cincinnati. But Bill, how about that? No, we're on to Cincinnati.
I'm just
I mean,
here so I don't
dude,
get fined.
never changed a facial expression, just kept repeating the same thing over again. And then even when he was done, it was like the last question, and he's like, still last question. He goes, we're on to Cincinnati, and walked off the podium. I was like, bravo.
The Denny Green, if you want to crown him, then crown their ass.
Yeah, that one's good too. Yeah. That was a good post game one too. 100%.
There you go. I just gave you two perfect 10 topics.
Coaches interviews and best movie. I was gonna say actually 3, because it would be best, teams, coach speeches, best one-liners in a sports movie, and then best coaches post-game comments. I'm supposed to be the franchise player.
Just playing. We sitting here talking about practice. Not the game I live and die for, but practice.
Oh man. So actually there's 3. I like it. We haven't had anything for almost over a year.
You go back to talking about calls, about like radio calls or TV calls. I will listen to Tom Hamilton call a home run any day of the week, all day long. The way that man calls a home run, and you can hear him get into it as the ball gets higher in the air and goes out further, it is magical.
I've gotten the fun thing is, we all know Uke doing the whole major league thing, but Euchre actually does the Milwaukee Brewers game.
Yes. Well, they filmed the major league in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he is phenomenal as a baseball announcer. I could listen to him like I could listen to Scully all day.
He's one of the better ones. I ran into Hamilton in a giant eagle in, I think, Broadview Heights a few years ago. And I heard him talking an aisle over, and I was like, that's Tom Hamilton.
Yeah, you just know the voice.
Because you can't, I didn't know what he looked like. I just looked up and down the next couple of aisles for the guy talking like that. Because
yep.
It's amazing how, especially with sports and sports fans, that we connect so much to the announcer's voice. You know what I mean? And one of my favorites is, his name's Doug Rice. He calls races for PRN and MRN.
the Motor Racing Network and the Performance Racing Network. And he retired. His last race was yesterday. He retired at the end of the Vegas race. So that was his last call for the year. And he was doing an interview, and he had said, it didn't click for me till I was talking to somebody, and they said, "What business are you in?" And he said, "I'm in the broadcasting business." And they said, "No, you're in the transportation business." And he said, "What?" He said, "No, you're in the transportation business because it's your job to transport the person that is listening on the radio to where you are."
That's a good. I like that. That's good.
And he said everything after that clicked for me because I stopped thinking about it as balls and strikes and first downs and stuff like that, and started learning how to paint the picture and being in the transportation business. And I was like, that's just damned romantic. There aren't too many people that can put that kind of energy through the radio anymore. No. Scully comes to mind. Doug Rice for me comes to mind. Tom Hamilton comes to mind. Joe Tate, when Joe Tate was alive and calling basketball games, he would sit there. The Cavs are moving left to right along your radio dial, and you could look at your radio and go, okay, center court is the middle of my radio. And I could picture the Cavs moving the ball down the court by the way he described it.
And I like the way they do that for football too. Some of the guys on Sirius will do it that way. And yes. I like that because it kind of gives you that mental picture. I love that.
Zolt's muted and he's just nodding his head a lot. So,
I mean, I grew up listening to Ernie Harwell. So,
yep. I was up there during the ending of those. Ernie was really good.
Ernie was a fixture. He was there forever.
As much as I hated his voice, Myron Cope for the Steelers.
And I will say this, here in Detroit, the Red Wings radio broadcaster Ken Cal is phenomenal.
Oh, he is awesome.
And his calling of goals, I don't know how the hell his voice goes, where the hell it goes, but
those vocal cords are going into the Hall of Fame.
The guys that do, because I'll listen on Sirius when the Pens are on, if I'm driving. And the guys that do the radio broadcast for the Pens are really good. They're very descriptive. They do the left to right or right to left. They'll pucks across the blue line and they're moving it across the red line. They're very, very descriptive. And I think that's
one of the hardest sports to do.
Hockey's got to be one of the hardest sports to call for radio.
Yeah, It is just so fast paced, and you're trying to bring all of it across, and it's just, how do you breathe?
That in auto racing, because when they do auto racing, and you've got a guy in turns 1 and 2, you've got a guy on the backstretch, you got a guy in turns 3 and 4, and then you got two guys that are up in the booth, right at the start finish line, and they're just going around like they're doing laps, with how quickly and where they're designated, where one guy drops off and the next guy picks up. Sometimes it's not seamless and other times it's amazing. Like, especially NBC does it on their television broadcasts when they did the Chicago Street Course and when they did Watkins Glen. They did their television broadcast radio style where they had different broadcasters in the turns. And you can just hear how, like, if you watch it and you hear the broadcast, you can get the idea of what it's like listening to it on the radio, because you don't even need to see the race. Like you don't need to. You could picture it. All right. Well, we didn't have to go through a 4-hour injury report.
Everybody's hurt.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay. Now what? San Francisco lost Ayuk for the year.
Yep.
Debo. What the hell happened to Debo? It was
He got knocked out.
As I said, I was like, what? I was like, it was fun while it lasted, but on the plus side of things, to see Pearsall back caught a few passes. It was very cool to see, even after his first completion, the fans and a few of the other players even turn around, and the fans gave him a standing ovation. The refs actually swapped out the football so that he could have the ball. It was pretty cool to see, and glad that dude, survived to turn around to be able to come back and play, especially
Holy crap.
it was really nice to see.
Yeah. Debo Samuel has pneumonia. That was the thing. It was like one of those. It's like, wait, okay, I don't usually see that on the injury report. George Kittle, day to day with a foot strain. Just ask CMC how those foot issues go.
Hello. You can ask me about foot issues. Mine's killing me.
Yeah, but I didn't draft you.
I know.
CMC's probably not coming back till after the bye week. I mean, at this
George
point,
It is what it is.
Yeah.
George has about as much chance of getting drafted as the little kid from Little Giants.
DK Metcalf has an MCL sprain.
Yeah, that one hurts.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here admiring the bicep because I haven't had one in a very long time. And it's awesome to me.
For Washington, Jane Daniels is week to week.
Yeah, what exactly did happen with him?
It's ribs.
Okay,
so they got
just
multiple X-rays of his ribs. They did an X-ray there, and then I think today they did another
was it
set.
just bruised? Was the results just bruised?
I don't think they've said.
Oh.
They're hopeful he's going to go this week because they're playing the Bears.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be a shame for Washington to lose him right at this point in time, because I mean that's a great spark to have him, and everybody's playing to rally around with this team right now, and it's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Those who have drafted Jonathan Taylor, hey, he might practice this week. I'm literally reading it off the thing.
Hey, how about Josh Jacobs getting his first receiving touchdown ever?
Really?
Ever?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I put it in our chat. Tua, his practice window has opened. Possibility he starts on Sunday.
You're not tempting me to pull him back on my roster. I don't think so. Sorry. Yes, I may have Tyreek Hill, but I mean,
Oh, are they?
I just switched them out.
I'll just take the Tyreek Hill.
I'll probably wear shorts again tomorrow, but I do need to wear a shirt.
I mean, and it's kind of funny because it's like, well, might have to start looking to trade Tyreek Hill, and it's like, oh wait, Tua's coming back this week. Still might be a good time to trade Tyreek Hill.
Raiders quarterback Aiden O'Connell going on IR, expected to miss about 6 weeks with a fractured thumb.
And that's disappointing for that kid. That kid's just gotten the shaft horribly.
And then so
bad coaching.
Yeah. Well, they've got the mustache, who can take over. And then they signed Desmond Ritter off of Atlanta's practice squad, I think.
No, he was on. No, he was on Denver's. He wasn't on Atlanta's. Atlanta went by.
Yeah, I thought they might have re-signed him to the practice squad, though.
Arizona. He was on Arizona's.
All right, boys.
He was on the Cardinals. You out?
I'm gonna go eat my
Well,
fifth meal of
you
the
go.
day.
Yep, you go tackle that. You go tackle that steak.
Nope. I'm going to have a piece of chicken and some rice, and then a turkey sandwich, and then my last protein shake of the day.
All righty.
And then, yeah, I'm going to go do bench press tomorrow. So, hooray.
Okay. Enjoy.
By the way, Zolt, I wanted, this man called me yesterday. George, that one. This man called me yesterday because he goes, doesn't even say hi. I go, hello. He goes, what is it exactly that you lifted yesterday? And
The Atlas Stones?
Yeah, no,
Atlas
I
Stones.
told
I
him,
know
I
what those
said,
are.
I says, dude, I says, what were you lifting? I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you nuts?
They're fun. Those are fun.
I-
And the
I used
circus
to-
dumbbell.
I used to watch World's Strongest Man. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, Bruiser's trying to lift what? Wait a minute. Hang on.
I did 2 at 95, 2 at 115, 2 at 130, and 4 at 165.
My niece is keeping on bench.
That is no joke right there, ladies and gents.
It's such an awkward movement.
Right.
It really is, because you deadlift it up to your chest and then sit back down and then stand up. It is a really awkward movement. I did the second to last one at 165 and had to walk away, and the coach, she's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Nope, clap my nuts." She goes, "Did you hit him with the stone?" I said, "No, when I brought my feet in together, because you stand out at a wide stance when you go to pick it up, because the stone's literally sitting between your feet, and you bend over and then pick it up and then bring your arms like this over it, as you're sitting back down, and you're supposed to bring your legs in. Well, when I brought my legs in, my nuts dropped and they clapped between my thighs. So I had to finish the lift, pinching my boys.
Yikes. Oh.
So I'm going to go eat. And then, yeah, I hate this. I hate eating this much. This is awful. I'm eating a ton and losing weight and gaining muscle, and it's weird. Because like the Hulk said in Avengers, I'm always angry. I'm now always hungry, and I don't like it. I walk into the gas station, I'm like, oh, Doritos sound great. And then my brain's like, we can't have those. So I'll see you boys later.
See you later. Leave it to Bruiser to just leave you with the nuts, literally.
Yes.
We've of course not had a normal show like we ever have, but we are when you even mentioned about having numbers, I'm sitting there going, dude, don't even ask about the picks, because we derailed off of that.
We stopped. We just completely stopped.
We just totally stopped it. And it's like a few people who sent them like in week 3 or 4, and I'm like, yeah.
Sam,
we covered that.
We're having a friendly show.
I popped him in on his. That's why he's returning the favor.
Oh, never mind then. Proceed.
Yeah. He's just returning the favor. But no, we are. I mean, who does surprise you so far out of the teams? Because I'll tell you right now, no, I did not see Minnesota sitting up top with Detroit.
No, me neither.
Nor did I see the whole NFC North sitting where they're at. The NFC North has become kind of the AFC North from a few years ago.
I
Everybody's a contender.
assumed somebody in the NFC North would become the punching bag. That's what I thought. And so far, we just haven't seen. Although to be honest, they really haven't played each other yet, other
Right.
than Detroit just beat Minnesota. So we'll see how that all shakes out in the end. I mean, Washington surprises me. I mean, we knew they were going to be better. I just did not expect them to be leading their division.
Yeah, and that kind of bothers Sam a little bit too. And I'm sitting there going, "Hey guys, I brought up in their post game yesterday, offensively, you take away the 3 big Barkley runs. Barkley only averages 3 yards a carry, and he's only got 42 yards.
True, but at the same time, he did have those runs.
Yeah. Oh no, that's true. But like I said, and we talked about it. Is Kellen Moore still not able to turn around and call the plays because Sirianni keeps trumping him and says, no, change it to this, run this. And unfortunately, we said, is it going to take losing to, Washington? Is it going to take losing to Dallas? When does he finally get whacked? Because he said Sirianni should definitely be on the hot seat at the moment.
Here's the thing. I mean, they're 4-2. It's not like they're 2-4.
Right.
So, but
they could be 3-3 if it wasn't for the Saints game.
I'm gonna say this though. There's a lesson, and I'm not. Again, they're 4-2. I don't want to just start throwing things out there as doom and gloom or whatever. But I think right now with the division that they're in, and the way the NFC is kind of playing itself right now, especially like we said, the NFC North, just your window doesn't necessarily close when you think it does. In fact, it could get closed by other people. I'm curious is Washington closing their window? Are they closing the Eagles' window? Because there's something wrong with that team, and yeah, we flat out have said we think it's Sirianni. But
yeah,
are you going to fire him at 4-2? What is it going to take, and is it going to be too late when you do get rid of him?
Yeah, because if he gets bounced in, round 1, is that what it's going to take? Is okay. Yeah, you had a cupcake schedule. You could barely beat the Browns. You beat them by 4. It's like, dude, come on.
I mean, I'll say I did not expect the Bucks to be, again, as good as they are. I figured a slide off a little bit there. Going the other direction, I'm pretty darn disappointed in Jacksonville.
Me too.
For a
I'm
team
very
that was supposed to be up and coming.
Yep. Very surprised and totally just confused on why they aren't better. I mean, there's so much talent on that squad. There is no reason for them to be in the crap hole that they are in.
Right.
That division should be Houston and Jacksonville just going blow for blow right now.
I mean, I'll say that I disappointed in where Miami's at, but again, we know why. So
right.
It's not like, and I'm going to throw this out there. Whoever the hell thought the Jets were going to win that division did not realize what they had at quarterback. You have a guy who is single-handedly destroying that locker room.
Absolutely. Compare the Eagles to the Warriors before hiring Steve Kerr. All the talent still looking for the coach. You could say that about Jacksonville too. You could totally say that about Jacksonville too, Sam. I agree.
I hear Urban Meyer's available.
Oh, really? No. Pittsburgh has got the weakest schedule. They're taking advantage of it. You know,
And we said that before the season started. It's like
yeah,
they need to load up on those wins because that back half of their schedule is pretty bad.
yeah. And I'm sorry, but if they get into the playoffs and they're gonna just get pummeled because they hadn't really played anybody yet. Jets are gonna
Sam,
just
that's
yeah.
a fact.
100%.
Disappointed in Cincinnati, but so is everybody in Cincinnati.
Yeah, right now you'd have Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston, Kansas City. And after that, Indy.
Colts?
Indy is the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everybody else is literally everybody else is garbage. Like everybody else is garbage the rest of the way there. That's pretty bad. That's really bad for as strong as the AFC used to be. That's really bad.
How about the fact that Denver Broncos are a tiebreaker out of the wild card? I mean, holy hell.
Yeah.
It's only week 7.
Right. But and that was kind of the funny thing that I looked at too. I was like, okay, Bo Nix, I was just sitting there keeping my fingers crossed. Let him get through this season unscathed. Don't worry about trying to be the superstar, but do enough. And then when you watch and you see the Max Crosby TikTok, I was just rolling out of my seat. I almost fell out of this chair. I was laughing so hard, and just put it on the loop, and I was just cracking myself up, going, "Oh my god!" And it's like, yeah, Bo, you're trying. I get it, but you know what? You've got Sean Payton. You do need a couple more pieces. You need a fresh running back, and you definitely need a couple of wide receivers. You need a couple more wide receivers. You lost Judy, and
Yep.
it is what it is. Still don't know why that trade happened. I'm still perplexed by it, but when you had a good two, you had two good dudes that were good enough, and then you got rid of one, so now everybody's double teaming and triple teaming Sutton. It's like, okay, well, what else do you got? Not much.
Well,
So he's trying to still work with things.
Yeah, I mean, taking it back to the NFC, I mean, so you've got Detroit, Washington, Seattle, Tampa Bay, your division leaders, Minnesota, Green Bay,
And Atlanta peaking in.
Philly
Ironically,
peeking in.
ironically, Atlanta peeking in. Right now, the Buccaneers are getting their butts blown out of the water by
Yep.
Baltimore. So that's going to put both of them tied at 4-3.
But here's the thing though. When you're looking at the teams that are currently out, okay, the Saints have lost like half their roster.
Oh, wow. I mean, talk about a team that we already know is always in cap hell, but now you've
Right.
got all these injuries on top of it.
But so you've got the Bears trying to get in and looking like they could. You've
Mhm.
got the Eagles that are one head coach away from being a top team. You've got the Rams who are going to start getting their players back here shortly.
Sooner, hopefully, rather than later.
Cup is a full participant at practice today. So
How many more weeks we got for Puka?
Nakua? That is a good question.
I was
Let me
going to
find
say,
out real quick here.
I think he's a few more out.
Well, he got
think
hurt first, but at the same time, Cup never went on IR. So,
And Arizona it's like they just can't seem to catch their
Okay.
right break with their schedule.
Here's the fun part. So when he went out September 29th, Naku at least week 8.
So he's got another week or so.
What week is this coming up, George?
This is this is week 8.
This is week 8.
I'll be darned.
But so far he has not been designated to return, so that's
Yeah.
got to happen first.
Right.
And then he's got to start practicing.
Hey, he is a good wide receiver. I think the Rams have fallen. They got lucky with him, and it's a good compliment to Kupp.
But yeah, and you think about it now. So figure 2 weeks from now, maybe you have both Kupp and Nakua back.
Yep.
Which
and
completely
they'll jump the
changes the look of
49ers.
that team.
Yeah, the 49ers are on a free fall. There's no way to bounce back. I mean, granted, I understand on who you've got Jennings, you'll still have Debo, you'll have Pearsall, but dude, you are just, I mean, yeah, okay, I see if you get CMC back a little bit, but I mean, still, you're missing a lot.
That's what I was going to say is until you get CMC back, you need him back so you can put the offense back together because ain't nobody thinking you're going to be running.
No, and it's a shame. And I thought for sure that the 49ers would grab themselves another solid running back. They needed it because you knew that CMC is up and down. I mean, just ask every fantasy owner.
Right.
That's why I said I'm glad I don't have the first pick because I don't want to take CMC.
Man, how high are those highs?
Sure. Like I said, the one season I actually got to get him, I was like, okay. And he was healthy the whole season. I was like, hey, look at that. The next year, I don't get him. Oh. I'm like, uh-oh. Chargers 6, Arizona 7, and watching two monkeys slap a football in the third quarter on ESPN Plus. Now we know why that game got put on ESPN Plus because ain't nobody got it and nobody cares.
I mean, it's bad enough to have 2 Monday Night Football games going at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of them on streaming only. What kind of sense does that even make? Put them back on Sunday in the afternoon and just let regular people watch them.
It's not even a good game.
No.
It's not even a game worth going. It's almost like the Thursday night games and trying to watch it on Prime. It's like, why? You just gave me junk.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not a London game, but it's a Germany game. It's a Brazil game.
I mean, it's getting bad. I mean, it's getting really bad. The double Monday night games, I think the NFL is going to look at this and go, yeah, wasn't quite living up to the hype.
I'm just trying to figure out what the point was. I mean, did they think that it was going to be Kyler and Herbert and, lights out? People are going to want to stream this game?
Initially, sure, because you also had, you would have had Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that's the only other thing I could think of too is remember you got one game is East Coast teams, the other game is West Coast teams.
Yeah, but they're still running at the same time.
Yeah,
what, an hour difference?
But what I think it was like half an hour difference. I mean, for West Coast, it is kind of a big deal for the West Coast. So I mean, I get it, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you're going to truly dedicate a game to the West Coast, start them at 9 or 10 o'clock and on the West Coast.
And here's the thing. What does Monday Night Football mean to you? It's the premier matchup of the week, right? And sometimes they're duds. We get that. Sometimes, hey, this looked really good 8 weeks ago.
or before the season was scheduled.
Yeah.
it's like,
Like-
hey, on paper, this looked great.
But that's the thing. It's the premier game. This is the game people want to tune in for. Let's let everybody watch it at the same time. Let's do 2 of them. No, that's this is not what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
one's on TV, one's got a stream. How are you going to change? I mean, granted, my setup, I've got two
Yeah,
monitors, I
right.
got 2 screens. Yeah, sure, I can get away with it. Not everybody in the brothers got this kind of deal.
And at the
You're
same
not
time, I
going to sit
like
there and flip it.
I like the fact that they show you the score of the other game in the corner, but all you're doing is reinforcing the fact that you don't have to go to it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, Baltimore is whopping 34
they
to
are.
10 on Tampa Bay, and they're just starting the 4th quarter.
That was I believe an 82-yard run by Derrick Henry.
Yeah, somebody, for as much as we didn't think that Baltimore was going to run the football because Lamar Jackson was going to run the football, whoo, somehow you kind of think, man, what if J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards were always healthy?
Right.
The what if? I mean, now
Yep.
granted, J.K. Dobbins is healthy over in L.A., which is weird to say.
Right.
It's like, hey, so far he's almost making it halfway through the season. There's still a quarter and a half to be played.
Long way to go.
Big window. But I mean, yeah, I didn't see that coming out of Derrick Henry. Not at all.
I mean, there was hope. I think there was reasonable expectations, but at the same time, this is football, and when you have somebody like that going to a different team, you don't know. So there were reasons to expect something, maybe not this good.
Did
Something very
heavens?
strange just happened.
I was going to say, did the heavens just open up above you? Because wow, all of a sudden you got super bright lights.
The light has been there the entire time. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but it went real bright all of a sudden. It's like, do you have a visitor?
Not here, but it did. I don't know. I think maybe we should end the show.
Oh man. Well, before we end the show though, got to give a shout out to the boys, because the boys had a great season. And I definitely want to turn around and share a little thing. I was a little bored yesterday.
I see.
And had enough time to turn around and put some fun stuff together like this. Fun little picture. And I've also got another one that I did, which I thought was pretty creative. Get rid of that one. Go back to that one. Come on. Hello. I guess it won't go. Well, that's interesting. Oh, well. I guess I don't get to do the other one. Not sure what's going on, but oh well. It is what it is. But yeah, the guys turned around and had another undefeated season, which was great.
I did
very
some quick
difficult thing to
math.
do. Sure.
Yeah, it looked like they gave up a total of 12 points.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
346 points scored and only gave up 2 touchdowns. One we gave to Avon Lake and one to Huron, and no 2-point conversions or extra points.
It was very generous of you to give those.
I was trying for the perfect home run, but can't stop them all. But
Hey.
you can in the second half when you do not allow any scoring type whatsoever over 2 years in the second half.
But you know what? Touchdowns sometimes are a good thing when the opponent scores them because it gives you film. Look,
Touche.
this will make
Yep.
you better.
Yep, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes, sir. Yep. That is correct. But it was a lot of fun. It's nice, you know, the couple of the parents, they made a banner 16-0, and even the Huron coaches told us at the end of the game, they're like, "Hey, congratulations on your accomplishments. You know, great season you guys had." After whooping them 58-6, it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, I mean, we made sure that we were trying to get a lot of different kids to turn around and also, you know, get in and, you know, get them scoring too. And it's a long season,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's kind of like, all right, well, where does everybody go from here? So we're looking at seeing what's going to happen for next year, and we'll wait and see what happens
Yep.
because we don't know yet. But it's a good group of kids. It's been a very big ride for the past 2 years, and that Sailor team for their junior high careers, they did a phenomenal job between both squads, both last year's squads and this year's squad. So we're proud of all of them. They did a really nice job.
Yeah.
Very coachable
Absolutely.
kids. So congrats to those fellas. And thanks to the parents too for, you know, letting them be a part of it. That always helps too. All right. Well, for Mr. Zolt, for Bruiser, Sam and Clint jumping in, and Mike, of course, too, earlier on. We will catch y'all on the flip side. See you next week.
Happy